Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. So, what is all this talk that I've been hearing? I asked myself about the Division 1 server still being kind of humming. People are still on those servers. So what did I do? I jumped right in. I still have the game installed on my PC here, so I was happy to just quickly jump in and just, see what people are saying. So I ran into the Dark Zone, got into a checkpoint, and behold, there were a few people there. I was expecting it to be somewhat of a ghost town, and these are the PC servers. I don't know what it's like on PS4 and Xbox. In fact, if anything, I've heard that there are more people on there. So people were, just running around, messing around. Some people tried to go rogue on me and shoot me. One guy was successful. It was just kind of humming. People were just messing around, and I think one guy may have been using a hack. His name was Scripting, and I think he may have shot me through some object or something. So people are probably still hacking because, I don't know if there's any monitoring of the game, but what does it all matter? It's not, I don't know. Massive needs to take care of their business. They're leaving the servers live, so I think they are obligated to at least look into it. So if you want to find somebody that's named Scripting, who was named Scripting yesterday, that's the person. See, done, reported. Now, why does this not really surprise me? Well, I remember making a video one time when the beta of the game came out, and I said something along the lines of, I think Massive has somehow put together a hardcore PvE game. Now, the Division 2 is a hardcore PvE game. It is not necessarily much of a PvP game, as sad as that seems to have been for a lot of the people that were expecting the PvP side of the game. The aspect of PvP is very minimal. You look at so many markers, you look at so many gameplay mechanics, you're going to see that the developers were trying to make PvP a very controlled environment versus the free range, Wild West that the Dark Zone in the Division 1 was, which that was the appeal to a lot of PvP players. Now, ask me if I'd like to go back to Division 1 for anything, even the PvE, I would say no. Sure, I'd like to see some elements from the Division 1 come to the Division 2, but honestly, how would I put it? I think I've gotten a lot more used to the mechanics in the Division 2 that I would not want to trade it for the Division 1 game. In fact, at first, the environment that seemed like, well, I don't know if we'll be able to get used to this, which is the environment of Washington, D.C., is actually right now much more appealing and actually just better aesthetically. The way the sunlight and the sun is shining, the way the weather changes dynamically to rainy weather, to nighttime, very dark. If you're playing on PC anyways, I've heard that PS4 had some problems with brightness a while ago. That's just better than a Division 1. I can't just give room to say the Division 1 actually looks better than the Division 2 right now. I haven't played the Division 2 for a long time. I just prefer it. But it goes back to say that a lot of the PvP community is wishing that a lot of the mechanics will come to the Division 2. But I don't know how that's going to actually work, because if they increase the time to kill for PvP, a lot of the PvP community might not like it. Right now, a lot of people enjoy the time to kill. Some people don't like it, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I don't think time to kill is really the issue here. I think the issue is the mechanics that make the PvP from the Division 1 what it is. A big free-for-all Dark Zone and some of the perks and the mechanics that you can use to keep yourself alive and show that you are a more skillful player. But I'm not a PvP player in the Division 1. I never did want to PvP. I never have any desire to PvP in this game. If you want PvP, I play soccer games, I play fighting games. Come and PvP me there and show me how great you are at PvP in other games. I know I didn't grow up playing shooters as, PvP side of things, so that's just my bias talking. That's just me speaking. But I'm really excited to see that the servers are still humming over in the Division 1. I got in for a quick run of Lexington Event Center, got to shoot up some NPCs. It was kind of fun, but to be very honest, the Division 2 is just a better game PvE-wise. I'm not going to lie. I think everything, guys and girls, if you're watching and if you've been looking at both games and saying that there's some things about the Division 1 that you like, for me, I see myself more and more growing more and more into the Division 2. And going back to the Division 1 is just to kind of get some nostalgia, but that's about it. Now, I didn't check the PvE side of the server, but I would say that, a lot of the PvE folk, if they're playing PvE right now in the Division 1, maybe they're new or maybe they're just going back just to kind of get their builds, running, dust off their builds and try to use it just to kind of get that satisfaction that they were able to min-max those things and get it out in the field and use them. Now, another thing, though, that I would say is a lot of people say that PvP in the Division 1 kept the game going. And I want to push back a little bit on that, because I want to ask, where's the data for that? If there's data that shows that a lot more people were PvPing in the Division 1, then I'll be willing to back down. And the developers have that data. But from the YouTube side of things, the Division 1 PvP was what was actually put out there much more. I do agree, but I don't think that the Division 1 PvP was the last shred of players that were playing the game. I think equally everybody was playing the game, and I think a lot more PvE players were playing, and I think it's that data that pushed the developers to develop a much more PvE centric game in the Division 2. If you look at things like, say, if you go to maybe the Division, there's a website called the Division Stats. I can't remember the full name of it, but if you just go out, look Division Stats, and put your username in any platform you are, it will give you some data about yourself, how many headshots you've had, how many NPCs you've taken, how many skill kills, and all those things. And I think Massive has had that data for 3 years, and perhaps seeing how players have interacted with the Division 1 really influenced how they built the Division 2. Now, I'm not saying that they are justified in leaving their PvP community hanging in the Division 2. That was their decision to make however they wanted to. But I am saying that whenever people say that the PvP in the Division 1 kept the game going, I have to push back, because yes, I watch a lot of Division 1 PvP stuff on YouTube. My favorite Division content creators are Gourmet J and Wids. I enjoy watching their PvP. I've always enjoyed watching their PvP, but I think the PvE players maybe were just participating a lot more over the long stretch of time that made the developers push their game this direction, or they wanted to make PvP, like I said earlier in this video, a very controlled environment. But I'll still be looking and keeping an eye on the server, and maybe once a week I'll jump in for a few minutes just to kind of see, what's going on. And the Dark Zone is the place to be. There are always people running in there, always people causing trouble in there. So it's nice to kind of go in there, and there's not a lot of tension anymore for me anyways. I'm not looking for anything, and anyone who's trying to shoot me is just looking for my trouble. That's what it is. And if I'm trying to shoot anybody, I'm looking for their trouble. But it's a fun discovery for me to find out that people are going back to those servers, and I'm really curious as to what you think. Why do you think people are going into the Division 1 servers again? Are they bored with the Division 2? Do you think there are some things that they miss, or do you think, it's just people just wanting to get back to the good old mechanics and just explore those things because we don't have them in the Division 2? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate you guys for listening and watching this video. Thank you guys for your comments on the last video. We're going to be looking at that topic and what most of you were saying in the next coming hours. And hopefully you stay tuned for more. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. Peace.